Hello again, and welcome to the second part of this modules project. And in this part, or let's go quickly and summarize what we did in the first part. Is created or created two tables and added a third one, as you can see here in front of you. We also added different columns for each table, and also relationships. So we have the data model built. Now the second question would be, how do I populate this data model? So one of the ways to populate it is, of course, through data entry. So the plan here is to come up with or to develop some kind of interface, some kind of a form or application where the end user can enter data into this data model. So how can we do that? Well, if you go to new, the new menu, and you go to app, you have different options here: Canvas app, model driven app, or page. Now I'm going to go to the model driven app, click on this one, and I need to provide a new name for this app. So I'm going to call this Yazan Coffee Shop, or Yazan Coffee. Right. On your end, please use your first name, last name, or use your first name, last initial, something like that, to kind of personalize your solution. All right, so underscore, he has an underscore coffee, and hit create. All right, now on the left side here, you have different parts. So you can hide and unhide the menu. So we have pages, navigation, data, and automation. And then here we have app. If I click on navigation, you will see something called group. Now the group is more of a really label. And if you expand that, you'll have a sub area. So what I'm going to do first is click on group, and I'm going to call this accounts and contacts. And then here for this sub area is associated or is linked with something else, like a table, a dashboard. So for this sub area, I'm going to go to the right side here. First of all, I'm going to call this accounts. And then the content type will be table. And then the table I'm going to use from here will be account. Sorry for that. One more time. I can't type for whatever reason. Let's see. We can go directly and just select it from the drop down. So this is account. And you can change the icon if you want. I'm going to keep it as the default. So now I see accounts here. And then I want to add contacts. So how to do so? I'm going to click on accounts and contacts, the group, and here add, and I want to add another sub area. So the content of this sub area is going to be from a table, and I'm going to call this contacts, and same thing, contact table, and I click on add. So you can see accounts. This is a preview of the app. So I have accounts and I have contacts. Now after this, I want to add another group. I'm going to call this group Yazan Coffee. And on your end, of course, use your name, first name, last name, or use first name, last initial, something like that. Right. So, and in this group, I'm going to add in two sub areas. The first one will be also content type is a table. And here, what I will add is the coffee shop table. Maybe title, put a space, just kind of make it looks nicer. Add, and then add another one for the owners. Same thing, this is a table, owner. All right. And here you go. Now you notice there's no data because we have not entered anything yet in that table. In comparison to these, they came from the Dataverse. They already were populated because this is coming from a sample data. Right, and I also can, or you can also see a preview of, again, this kind of a form or this application, sorry, by clicking on the play. So when clicking, sorry, on the play button, then you will see that the platform will ask you to save and publish the solution or what you have modified. Now, why this is important? Simply because if you save without publishing, that will not reflect on the user side. So, in the user interface or the UI, if you do not publish your modification, it will not show up. So this is the UI. It opens in a new tab. And you can see on the left the sitemap, how you can go between the different parts. So here what I did is added another subgroup. And here I'm going to add just a test subgroup. Just kind of to show you that sometimes you would modify the application, save that, save the, let's say, what you have done, but without publishing it, that will not reflect on the user side. So a subgroup, I just called it test, added a table called queue. I saved, as you can see, clicked on the upper right, in the upper right corner, clicked on the save button. But as you can see here right in front of you on the, or in the UI, those modifications are not showing up. So it's very important once you do some modification to your app that you publish it so it gets kind of committed and starts showing up on the or in the UI, the user UI. As you can see here, once I published the modifications, now on the user side UI, showing up that part. Now I deleted those because we don't need them. I just did that to show you the difference between saving modifications and publishing the modifications. Now here I'm going to create a form for the coffee shop. As you can see here, there are 3 forms all named information. So if we look at the form type, I'm going to select the main form. And a form is just that GUI, that interface, the graphical user interface that allow the end user to enter data into a table. So first open that form. By default, we have 2 fields, the name for the coffee shop and the owner. And the owner here is not the coffee shop owner. This is the owner of the record. So this is why, just to kind of remove the confusion, I decided to go and rename the owner table. So the owner table is actually the coffee shop owner, right? Like the landlord. So went to the table, edit the table, and change the name from owner to coffee shop owner. So there won't be no confusion when we talk about owner and the coffee shop owner. Again, the owner field that we saw was the owner of the record, like the user, the person who entered that record. So from now on, we're going to use coffee shop owner to refer to the owner of the coffee shop. All right, so now I want to add more fields to this form. But before that, I want to give it a name. That section. And to split this into 2 different columns. Right. Another thing that we created, or I created previously, an address field, right? A column that will capture the address of the coffee shop. But in the United States, it's common, or the standard is to have, for example, a street address, and then a city and a state. So what I'm going to do is to go back, create those 3 different columns, the street address and city and state, and then, remove that field, the address field. It's not meaningful in this context. So just going to quickly create those 3 different, or those 3 new columns. All right, so now I see those fields, and I'm going to add them to the form. So the street address, city, state, phone number, outside seating, and capacity. Now after that, I want to add a related table. So as I mentioned before, we created a relationship between coffee shop and contacts, and relationship is many to many. So a coffee shop can have multiple contacts. Now here, just before we go there, just to show you again that the owner is still shows as owner, but in reality it is not the owner of the record. This one, as I mentioned, is the coffee shop owner. Now I did change the name of the table, but the name of the field has not changed. It is a lookup field. So now I'm going to edit that column and change its name so there will be no confusion. So now I understand there's a difference between the field coffee shop owner and owner, as owner is a default field that, again, it means the owner of the record, of that row that was just inserted or created into that table. Now I hope this kind of removes any possible confusion. Now another way to change that, if I don't want to change it like that, is go directly to the table and modify or edit the column over there. But as you can see here, the modification I did before is reflected in the coffee shop owner. It is, if you can see, it's the third line. So now it looks like I want it to be like, or at least the label looks like what I want it to look like. So when somebody sees the form and see the coffee shop owner, they understand what that means. All right, so now it looks good. I hope I did not confuse you a little bit with this. I should have, when I created it, I should have remembered the this owner field issue, but it didn't occur to me earlier. Now, we create a relationship between, as I mentioned, between coffee shop and contacts. This is why I want to add a subsection for contacts. So expand the grid, and we'll add a subgrid. Well, first of all, I want to create a new section and label that section. And after that, add the subgrid. Now, the subgrid is coming from a table, right? So we need to make sure that I only show the related records, and I select the contact table. And I want also the default view to be the active contacts, and we're going to talk about what do I mean by active, or what do we mean by views later on. So now I can see here the subsection. Yeah, you know, I need to, or I would like to change how the subsection or the subsection name and the label, so make it something more meaningful. All right, so again, save and publish. So the new modifications I did will show up on the UI. Now, same thing for the coffee shop owner. To modify the form. Now, there's going to be the same issue. I have the address as one field. Please, on your side, when you do this, repeat what I did for the previous form. Create 3 different fields, one for street, one for city, one for state. Now, for, for the just, not to make this recording too long, I'm not going to do it here, but please do it on your side. Now you notice that the owner here field is there by default, and this is the records owner. Save and publish. Now going to repeat the same thing now for the contact. Now the contact was out of box, so it was already in the dataverse. It came from the sample data. So here you will notice that there are 2 forms with type main. I'm going to select the contact one, not the information one. It's already kind of pre-built. You can modify the fields, the labels, different things here accordingly. Feel free to do so. I mean, try to personalize it to make your work looks unique and different than others. Now I'm not gonna modify it more. Save and publish. Now going back to the app. As you can see in the sitemap, when I click on coffee shops and coffee shop owners, there's no data. So what I'm gonna do now is to enter some sample data. Accounts and contacts pre-populated, so we don't need to worry about those. Now, because as I mentioned before, the relationship is one-to-many between coffee shop owner and coffee shop. It makes sense to create coffee shop owners or records for coffee shop owners first. So I'm going to create a coffee shop owner with my information. Please do the same on your side. So create a contact that has your first name, last name. Now, obviously, the address and the phone number is just something I made up. You don't have to put your address and phone number. And please create like 4 different owners. Only going to do 2 here. Again, for the sake of time, I don't want to make this recording too long. Now, when creating a new row or a new record for the coffee shop, name is a mandatory field to enter. Where street address, city, state, phone number are optional. Now you can notice now when I try to enter a coffee shop owner, kind of drop down menu show up, or lookup menu to be more precise show up. So I can select from the ones I just created. And then outdoor seating and seating capacity. Now you can see that the subsection context that we created is not active. It will get active once I hit save. So the coffee shop record gets saved. And now I can add some contacts. Now the contacts again coming from this sample data. So I'm just gonna pick 3 or 4. Make sure to save. And this is how you enter data through a form. All right, now let's go back to contacts. And up here, if you notice, we have something called views. So now here I see my active contacts as the default view. If you click on this drop down or this arrow to see the drop down menu, you can see that first of all, those are system views, and the default is my active contacts. I can click on all contacts, and that's how I'll see all the contacts, not just the active one. This is the status. So if they were not active, they will, everything here is active. This is why all contacts is the same as my active contacts. I can make all contacts the default one. So whenever I open this user UI, that's what I see by default. So now I'm changing all contacts to be the default. Alrighty. Now those columns can be sorted from A to Z, Z to A. You can filter them as well. So for example, here you can filter active, non-active, but all of them are active. So there's really not much of a difference. If I only select the inactive ones, apply, then I see nothing. Clear filters. All right. This is quite straightforward. What else I want to talk about? Maybe I want to add another, let's say another column, right? So here you can see edit columns. Now those are the columns that I currently have in the view. I add, or in the form, I add another one, and I can select from the existing field. So maybe I want to add an email address. So here you have email address. What other things? I think email address is something always needed. So I have address. Here it is. I don't know what's the difference between email address 2 and 3, so I'm going to select both of them. Just want to make sure there's no other email comms, and I will remove the ones that I don't want. All right. That's it. I mean, all right. So I'm done here. Hit close. Now I see email 2 and email 3. So maybe, oh, I already see the email address here. So sorry, I did not notice that. Okay, let's keep email 2 and email 3 just to show you what you can, how can you add another column. So hit apply, and now I see email 2 and email 3, but obviously there's nothing in these, so they were not exactly something meaningful to me. Let's go to accounts here. Same deal. You can change the different views. And for example, here I want to add another column. Maybe the number of employees. Let's see. So number of employees. We have the account number 2. And maybe you want to place this right after the account number or account name. All right, so you have here the number of employees. You can filter. So for example, you want the accounts that are greater than 5,000, with number of employees of above 5,000, apply, and now I can see the filter. All right, now let's say that, well, let's do another way. Another way of doing this, let me clear the filter. So let me remove this. So going back here to edit columns, and let me remove, what was it? Just click here, set to default, and that will remove the number of employees. I'm gonna show you another way to do this. So if I go to back to the tables, simply I want to add, I don't see the accounts account table. So I want to add existing, not a new one, table. And here I have the account table at the top, just the account table. Hit next. I want to, again, include all objects. And add this one. And then now I see the account table. I simply can go and click on the existing forms. Or sorry, the existing views. Let me see. And this is the active accounts. Click on this one. as you can see here, I have the account name, main phone address, primary contact, email address. I can click on plus and add employees number or number of employees. All right, so I added this column here. I can go and modify its location by dragging and this column and dropping it to the location I want. The account name seems to be kind of too big, so I can adjust the width of the column. All right, and so you hit save and make sure to also hit publish, right? So if I hit save, let me show you that. If I go here, refresh, it doesn't show anything. I'm in the my active accounts view, but I don't see the number of employees. Now if I hit publish, I'll take a second to publish. Now, going back to the user UI, this is the user UI. Refresh, refresh, and another refresh. All right, let's see what I'm doing wrong here. Oh, here you go. So sorry, what I modified is the active accounts, not my active accounts. So if I go here, drop down, I can click on active accounts, and here number of employees. Okay, let's say that I also want to modify the view my active accounts, right? So let's go back here, my active accounts, same deal. So this is saved and published. Let's go back, tables, account, views, and let's look for my active account. Here it is, my active accounts, and then do the same. So now I'm currently modifying the my active accounts view. Same deal. Number of employees added, and I can put it somewhere else. All right, save. And you can see there is a difference between those two, right? Here I don't see the number of employees. Here I do. So even if you save, you don't see that is being reflected. So you have to hit publish. And now refresh, refresh. Here it is, number of employees. All right, perfect. Now, what if I want to create a view? You have here this icon or this button. Excuse me. Click on it. It'll open another pop-up window. And now you can decide what you want to create. So look for accounts, and here I want, for example, find accounts that are in Dallas. So again, what I'm trying to do is look for accounts that the address or the city, address 1, which is the city, is in Dallas. All right, so I can first hit results here to see if I see anything. So let where, and those guys are in Dallas. Oh, I don't see the city here. I can add it if I want to. And then what I can do is save, and I can call this whatever I want. For example, accounts in Dallas, and then hit save. And now what you will notice is once you click on this arrow, you'll see my views, accounts in Dallas. If I click on that, I will see the accounts that I have in Dallas. Again, if I want to add the column for the city, but obviously it's not needed, edit column, add column, and address city 1, close, apply, and now you can see the city. All right, folks. So what you need to submit. So in the last in part 1, I asked you to submit a screenshot showing the 3 tables. So for now, what you need to do is to take screenshots from the Make Power apps. Okay. So let's go back here. I need to see that you have 4 different tables. So take screenshot of this. All right. Okay, so this is your first screenshot. What else I want you to take screenshot for? Sitemaps, maybe. It doesn't show a lot of information, but yeah, the sitemap. Take a screenshot of this. Alrighty. And put that in a Word document. What else? Let's take screenshots from the UI. So going back to the UI. Here, click on what did we modify? Coffee shop owners. Show me that you have some sample data. So take a screenshot of that. Add your name as one of the owners. Okay, to personalize your solution. So I want to see at least 4 different owners, active owners. And then what else? Coffee shops. If you can, please create at least 3 coffee shops with different names, unique names. Contacts. What have we done here? We didn't do much, so I guess change the default view to all contacts, and take a screenshot of that. Right, so add it to the Word document. So just show that you know how to change the default view. All right, the accounts. I want to see that you created a view, and take a screenshot of that. So click on the drop down and then tick the Microsoft button, Shift and letter S, and it will allow you to take a screenshot for the whole thing. So here you will show me that you know how to add a column, which is the number of employees, right? Number of employees, that you created a view, and the view has to be different than the one I created. So the one I created shows, for example, in the My Views, shows the accounts in Dallas. So do something different, be creative about it. All right, so that will be it. Is there anything else I can think of? Oh, here on the upper right corner, there is the advanced find, which will open the same kind of window as the creative view. So I just remember this, or remember not to forget about this and mention it to you guys. Another thing, maybe another interesting thing to do to kind of customize your view or your solution. So here, going back to the makepowerapps.com, you can see here the settings icon up right corner. Change the theme from the default. It's kind of a little bit boring, so choose something you like. kind of change the theme. It'll be nice. Change the theme, then take screenshots again, just to kind of make it more personalized and differentiate your solution from others. And feel free to be creative. So maybe you want to add more tables. Maybe you want to add more fields, create more views. Please feel free to do so and explore more. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll meet again in another recording.